It is February 23rd, 2022. Everything seems normal. The League's 3 is going strong. The weekly update just launched. People are eager to try out the new PvP loot keys. I do my daily routine, Reddit, YouTube, Twitter and so on. A user named Cape Champion does a Twitter post tagging in Mod Ash and Mod Elena with the simple idea of adding another variation to the max cape. It would be called the Skiller's Max Cape, which would allow players who are level 3 but maxed out on all non-combat skills to have their own version of the max cape. At first glance, the post looks innocent enough to not mean much. Pretty much like the 100 proposals Mod Ash gets every day. Some better, some worse. But what came next was a series of angry old school RuneScape players giving out death threats, telling the original poster to commit suicide, and above all, insulting his character. This is the story of Skill Max Cape and the community of old school RuneScape. It's not uncommon for the community of old school RuneScape to give out ideas on Reddit, on Twitter, or even on YouTube. In fact, a lot of the updates you see today came from the community itself, the biggest ones being Rooftop, Agility Courses, Old School RuneScape HD, and the Motherlode Mine, and so on and so on. Unfortunately, this community is very particular on what they like and don't like to see. A core part of this game is tradition. It is one of the longest lasting MMOs out there, and with that comes the mandatory part of nostalgia. So oftentimes you see proposals to the game that just straight up don't work with the theme of old school RuneScape. And if there is any gaming community out there that is vocal about the changes to the game, old school RuneScape is definitely up there. That's one of the big reasons why community is proposing all these ideas, but I've never seen anything like this before. More bad cape ideas I see. Not a fan. If you want a max cape, then max out. It's in the title, man. Max means every skill, not just the ones you feel like training. Big no. It's not too late to delay this, bro. It sounds stupid. You choose to limit yourself. The thread popped off. Ideas from both sides. Nobody can really give out any arguments as to why it's bad, besides the fact that Maxcape is meant for people who max out their accounts. The idea is controversial to say the least. The lead developer of Old School RuneScape Mod Ash likes the idea and agrees that something like this could be implemented in the game if the community agrees. Just to put it out there, this guy gets hundreds of bad ideas every single day and he is polite enough to answer most of them. Best lead developer we could ever ask for. Back to the thread. Everyone is piling on this single idea of adding a new cape into this game. But as with every new idea, things start to settle down and few days later, most have already forgotten about this. This is updated and revised Killer's Max Cape based on the feedback from the Max community on my previous post. Call it the Skilling Cape. Benefits. This will give benefits to all non-combat 99 skill cape perks with the exception of all teleportation perks which are not added.
Oh shit, here we go again.
This idea sucks really bad. If you want a Max Cape, why don't you just max out? By the way, I just love how he tags himself for the response. What a giga chat. Bro, it's okay, you had a dumb idea. People made fun of you for it. Move on, it's literally just the internet. Is this a joke? Go play on a private server. Awful idea. This is the most ignorant idea I've come across in a while. Shut the fuck up and neck. Kill yourself. Twitter popped off. User named Shocks Old School RuneScape made a tweet longer. Yeah, this is how far we become with this one simple idea. People are writing manifestos now. He started talking about the lack of human decency in this community and how it must be addressed. A fellow RuneScape player getting death threats, people telling him to commit suicide and so on is extremely appalling for just making an idea that doesn't even affect most of the community. He goes on about how the community is really good at ganging up on other players and just because you don't agree doesn't give you the right to insult other players. Most of the feedback is not giving critical feedback, but rather insult the player for giving his idea in the first place. And I'm gonna stop you right here because there actually was some decent feedback on why this isn't an idea that will pass. Starting with the fact that if Jagex starts to cater players with self-imposed restrictions, where do we draw the line? Like for example, a very popular game mode is Creed-locked Iron Man, where players voluntarily lock themselves into a square block on the map of RuneScape until they complete all the challenges on that block. It's ridiculous. Why would you ever do that to yourself? But that's beside the point. But it also goes in line with this idea where what if we give all the Creed-locked Iron Man, I don't know, boots or gloves that help them teleport from one Creed to another. I know. This is the dumbest idea you heard all day. But the idea is that where do we draw the line with accounts that put restrictions on themselves? And I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. Should players or accounts that put self-restrictions on themselves get benefits like the rest of the players? But back to my previous points. Of course, as you would expect, the tweet longer itself gets a lot of negative feedback. The discussion though at this time is much more civil. There is a lot of good points on both sides of the story and there isn't really a clear picture here. Of course, we still have a few bad apples in this picture. Probably PKers. I'm joking. I love PKers. You guys are my favorite. Please don't kill me. We even get to a point where some of the biggest RuneScape content creators get involved, like Randy, like Ninerain. Even Mod Zuko chimes in with a joke that it didn't work very well. But really though, I thought it was funny, okay? I thought it was funny. Everyone chimes in, everyone wants to give their opinion if the cape is good or not. Now, 4 days later, as with almost every new idea, the hype dies down. So where are we now today? Well, our story is still evolving and a virtual cape in children's MMO game might not be as trending as World War III, but it still has its own glimpses of reality, how the community is as of today. I don't know how Cape Champion himself feels right now about the whole situation. I tried to ask him on Twitter, but he turned off personal messages, which I feel is definitely the right call here, considering the amount of hate he has gotten in the past week, and thankfully he is also joining in on the banter, somewhat saying the red cape should be the skill max cape. That's pretty funny, I love this kind of dry humor. He does talk about how he has given ideas that don't benefit his own account only, which proves that he is not out there only to benefit himself, but the community as a whole. I'll end the video on this note. Unfortunately, the old school RuneScape community is known for pressuring on matters that doesn't really affect them. Few weeks ago, Mod Wolf made a post about anniversary, and not the good kind of anniversary, where almost 5 years ago, he added in just a few rainbows to the game for Equality and Pride Week. It was such a small matter that didn't really affect anyone in the game, and yet it received countless death threats. It made into international newspapers. Reddit was such a bad place to visit at the time because you saw threads where players promised to quit the game because they saw a few rainbows in the game, calling out Mod Wolf and so on and so on. So as much as I would like to say the reason Old School RuneScape, my favorite video game of all time, still stands to this day is because of this community. There is also the other minor but very vocal sides that just doesn't like when other players enjoy the game. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if the cape idea is good or bad. Who cares, honestly? It's a cape in a virtual game. Sometimes it's super awesome to have a community driven game, but sometimes the things you see from all the vocal angry players is just a reflection of the anonymous voices in an echo chamber. Thank you for watching.